Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to the channel. It's Cynicalex, and today we've got the second official podcast episode featuring members of the MFF community pulled together through Discord to come together and discuss some important key topics that have been surrounding the game Marvel Future Fight in the community for, recently, but also for a long time. And this revolves around game modes and game mode rewards. Now, we've been talking about this recently, not only because of the addition in World Boss to Awakening Crystals being added to the game as a drop, but also because Marvel Future Fight has recently sent out a survey that we covered in another video earlier, like 5 days ago, where they ask for, our favorite game modes and why they're our favorite game modes. And one of the options there was it's fun. One of the options there was it's quick. One of the options was the rewards are good. And then the opposite, which two game modes do we dislike the most and why? And of course, one of those answers being the rewards are not good enough. And of course, if you've been on the channel long enough, you know that's pretty much a constant criticism that I have of game modes like Giant Boss Raid, game modes like World Event, where it just feels like we're playing and maybe it's fun, but you finish and you're like, well, what did I get? You didn't really have much to show for it. So I wanted to pose some really interesting questions to you guys and get your reactions in the community. So the topic that we're going to lead off with, and then we're going to go into some freestyle stuff afterwards, is the following. Does Marvel Future Fight need more new game modes, or do we just need better rewards for the existing game modes? Additionally, should the rewards that exist now in World Boss be moved to other game modes? Not saying that they're going to be reduced, or that they will be reduced, or that I want them to be reduced, none of that, but just the question of theoretically, hypothetically, could we, let's say, move Awakening Crystals to another game mode to improve those rewards, or remove some of the other rewards from other game modes, or from World Boss to other game modes? So we're going to start it off with Black Status 91.
Hey, what's going on, everyone? This is Black Status 61.
Oh, 61.
How's it going? So, as far as the game modes are concerned, I've been playing this game for a long time, since before alliances were created. So I have seen a lot of changes go throughout the years with this game. I feel that right now the game modes, as it stands, they're pretty good. I like the way they're revamping the game mode, but I do feel that we do need a bit more rewards as far as game modes. And like, for example, for ABX, it's pretty much just for style purposes or to score points. But the rewards are minimal. The rewards are pretty much obsolete. We do need better rewards as far as ABX. Alliance Conquest is pretty much like you mentioned previously. It's low quality content, co-op, World Boss Invasion. We can definitely see a revamp in those game modes, and also like the rewards, like you said, Awakening Crystal, CCF. Those items, I can see them moving to GBR or maybe even Danger Room. Just to entice more players to play those modes. So that's what I feel as far as that subject is concerned.
All right, awesome. Thank you so much. I do see a lot of people wanting revamps of existing game modes because they're worried about having too much to do and not having enough time. Next up, let's hear from iBig.
Hey everybody, how's it going? Been a while.
Yeah.
So personally, I think that there needs to be a small increase in the current rewards, but overall I think we just need new game modes because we don't really have ways to utilize our characters in unique ways. So there's other mobile games where you have, so for example, Epic 7 has a labyrinth mode where you have to go through a maze and you have to fight 4 different bosses, and after you beat all those bosses, you beat the main boss, which is something that they can incorporate. There's ways to like incorporate having your team of characters, for example, the X-Men, use them and you have to fight 5 different stages of Professor X to unlock him at multiple different stars all the way up to tier 2, and it gets progressively harder.
Wheelchair
really
mode.
Locked in to like those specific characters. That's something like Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes does.
Okay.
So we don't really have a lot of unique ways to use our characters. We just have a very basic way where we're kind of doing the same thing over and over again in all these game modes, and there's nothing that really is unique about it. So I think, and we don't really use that much of our roster, and those kinds of things could force us to use our roster in a better way, especially for the long players that have been around, like most of us in this chat. So I think that's one thing that they could do. I think modes like World Event need a reward boost because there's nothing there. Something like Alliance battle
Mm-hmm.
needs a huge reward boost. And Shadowland, if you hit a certain stage, it's to start the rewards in the boxes should progress like booty boxes. It should be, you should get a little more the higher you go because you have that.
Good
So
point.
that's kind of where I feel like on all that, and that's where you can put some of those extra materials that are only limited to one mode into multiple different modes.
Okay, so a little bit of a mixture of what I was saying and what Black Status 61 was saying, but the additional caveat of having game modes reworked so that we use more of our roster. Maybe we don't need more rewards. I mean, maybe we do need more rewards, but maybe if you could only choose one, Ibig is saying don't necessarily go for like more rewards or rewards in different places, but definitely go for first a revamped game mode where we use most, if not all, of our current roster. Let's hit it up next with Jess.
I think their primary focus right now should be on reworking the game modes, like ABX, especially with the rewards there, because 100,000 points is where the rewards stop. And we almost hit 3.5 million every day.
Yep.
So it needs to have a little bit more incentive to play.
True.
GBR needs a little bit of a boost too. AC, well, there's not much to add there. I don't like the game mode, so they need to rework that one.
Yep.
And about moving the crystals to another game mode, I don't see that working.
Okay.
Because there's an unlimited entry for Danger Room, unlimited entry for GBR. So if they put it there, people are gonna hoard and buy less. So I don't think that's worth it.
True. It hurts
them.
their bottom line. Yeah.
Yep. And that's basically it.
Okay, awesome. Thank you very much, Jess. Yeah, that's a really good point. Yeah, there definitely would need to be some changes, and that might confuse the community. You know, well, I can only get rewards for the first 5 times that I play GBR, and then that might frustrate some players who like to be able to play 50 times. I know for some people they really hated my suggestion of removing. Well, it wasn't suggestion, I should say. My hypothesis, my prediction, my speculation of possibly removing World Boss Invasion, because with the current math, 210 characters, you can play World Boss Invasion if you have the energy 70 times per day. Now, a lot of players don't have the time to play 7 times per day, but there were some players that were upset because I had suggested that they could be removed, and that would remove a place where they can sort of endlessly grind. So how do we balance having different game modes that are incentivized to be played? Because right now, it feels like a lot of players are only incentivized to play World Boss for the most part in co-op. How do we balance that with game modes that we can play repeatedly if we have the time and if we want to? Let's hit it up with number 4 here, CCMKL.
Hey, how you doing, Alex?
What's up, man?
All right. Well, the first thing is, I've been playing the game for like 4 years now, and I really love it. I love the new story mode that they just came out with. I really do enjoy it. They need more of that. But World Boss, the World Boss right now.
Yeah.
If they want us to get Shadow Shell in the Warriors of the Sky, they want us to use CCF on them. So you ain't letting us do World Boss nothing but 5 times.
True.
How about letting us do it 10 times? So I'll be willing to spend my CCF that we don't get that much on Shadow Cell or one of the Warriors of the Sky. You know what I'm saying? It's just an idea that I've just been thinking about, like, because right now I can level up one of them with my CCF, but I'm not gonna do that because I want to T3 my Deadpool. You know what I'm saying? So it's a balance there, but I'm loving the way Marvel Pizza Fighters put out there saying that the idea that we could do give us an idea we could do to make the game more better.
To improve.
To improve. They need that. We need that because I love this game. I know y'all love this game. I have a passion for this game.
Yep.
And we just need more modes to play as a community. Modes to where like we could play with each other, like in
Danger
like
Room?
Battle War. Yeah, Danger Room.
Okay, or against
Battle
each
War,
other.
I don't even like Battle War. I mean, Battle War, I think it's so lame to me. But if you would make it to where we are playing together in there, maybe we'll play a little bit more often. Maybe I'll play a little bit more often.
Oh, instead of playing against each other.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, so let me pass the mic, but that's my thoughts.
Okay, thank you very much, CCM. Definitely.
Yep.
So that's interesting. Yeah, definitely. A lot of players want us to be able to play World Boss 10 times per day, as he said. And I think his general idea was also reinforcing through that 10 versus 5 of World Boss that we need more game modes to be able to play, which does support the idea of them wanting to revamp game modes. And maybe that could open up ways of them introducing more rewards, either new types of rewards, like with the Awakening Crystals, like inventing new resources, or just duplicating other resources that we get. Let's say putting one of the tier 3 materials from World Boss in this other new game mode, putting another one in another new game mode, and sort of spreading them out. So you can't necessarily hoard, like Jess was saying, unless you're able to play all of those game modes every day. But then that, I think, can cross over into the territory that some players are worried about, where there's just too much to do and not enough time. And that's definitely something that I've heard people in the community say about story mode. Although I really like it, I can admit myself I don't have time to play it every single day. And some people also don't even agree with the rewards. They don't think they're good enough. But enough of that. Let's go on to number 5 here, Handsome Jack. Thank you for waiting.
Hello. So I'm probably the newest player here. I've only been playing for about a year and a half.
Dope.
Yeah, so I'm kind of a fresh face.
Mm-hmm.
So hopefully my perspective is unique enough. I personally think adding new game modes is more of a mistake than anything. I think we really need to add a lot more to the current ones. I mean, we have, I think it's 12? Somewhere around there, game modes, and I'm pretty sure I only play, unless I have so much free time in a day that I don't know what to do, like 4 of them: World Boss, Co-op, Timeline, and Dimension Mission.
Yep.
Yeah, there's just no incentive. I mean, when I see I have a daily quest to play Danger Room, I kind of sigh, because I know if I'm lucky, I get 15 bios, and that's about it. And it just doesn't feel like it's worth my time, whereas if I, for instance, want to do Alliance Conquest, I work really hard for a whole entire week, and I get some gold, where I can get 10 times that in co-op in that same amount of time.
Yep.
So I just think that they should, instead of adding more stuff that we'll ignore, especially for players like me who can't spend all day playing every single game mode for the tiny bits of rewards, should diversify the rewards so that way we have a reason to play them, then rework those game modes, make them better, and if they do all that, then they can add more.
Definitely. Okay, yeah, that's definitely what I've heard from players. So thank you, Handsome Jack, for echoing, I think, what a lot of people are saying, which doesn't mean that we can't get new game modes. You can also get new game modes in the way of tweaking existing game modes. For example, adding a new giant boss raid a la Galactus, maybe a Nihilus, maybe Sentry in the Void and something like that. Or maybe a sort of a combination of different things. They could cycle in maybe 1 day a week where you can play World Boss 10 times. A lot of people have been asking for Super Giant to finally get reworked. I mean, that's probably never going to happen. But, that would be a way of introducing some new content without necessarily pressuring players to be able to spend 3, 4, 5 hours a day playing. Because, I have that luxury. Maybe other people have that luxury, but a lot of players don't, and they have to budget their time accordingly. Last but not least, for this first round of questions, Adam Valor Black, go ahead.
Thank you very much. I'm going to go from each tab as fast as I can.
No worries.
First of all, the mission tab. I love everything they're doing here. No problem with any of it.
Okay.
The challenge tab. We need either a 4th game mode that Awakening Crystals are moved to, or also added to. But that's a little down the road, I think.
Okay.
Like most people, I believe we need 10 entries of World Boss a day for the longtime players who actually have the roster to handle 10 entries. As for the arena tab, oh boy, the arena tab. Practically every game mode in this section needs a top to bottom rework gameplay wise, except Danger Room. But Danger Room does need better rewards to its chests. ABX needs to have rewards that at least scale up to 1 million points, maybe even 2.
Yep, echoing what Jess said.
Timeline needs to make it so that you don't have to fight the exact same Thanos team 10 times in one day. I don't know how this would work, but we need some.
Yep.
I'm not sure about Conquest and Tournament, but whatever they do, they need to scrap the autoplay.
Yep.
As for co-op, I like GBR. I like World Event, although I think it needs more rewards. And lastly, co-op missions and World Boss Invasion need to have the reward systems combined, and Invasion needs to be reworked reworked into World Boss Ultimate Invasion.
Hmm.
And the invasion chests could be guaranteed. The type of invasion chest you get could be guaranteed depending on what stage you play between. Obviously, 50 giving you a mythic chest.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Awesome. Very interesting, very detailed responses. For those of you that think that I agreed too vehemently with Adam and that he was planted as an agent to just say all of the things that I've been saying in videos and agreeing with me, I can assure you that is not the case. Adam is very much his own agent of agency. But yeah, I just so happen to agree almost 100% with everything that was said. But I agree with parts of what everyone said. And obviously, in an ideal world, if we had infinite resources and Marvel Future Fight didn't have to worry about monetization or paying devs to work for hours and hours, then yeah, we would get all of these things put into the game. I think one of the biggest challenges that the devs probably have, even if they're watching this video, is how do we take the information, the feedback that we're getting from these people, how do we distill that and filter that, but then also how do we prioritize that? And that's something that I have absolutely no answer to, and I imagine the devs don't have a good answer to that either, but that's their job, so they're going to have to figure out an answer to it. So yeah, just rank from 1 to 4 what you think the priority should be for the devs. Game mode reward reworks, game mode character usage reworks, new game modes, or reshuffling of existing game modes. Anybody, feel free to chime in.
I'll chime in. As far as the game mode reward rework, I feel that can be number 1.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that's too much to ask. Also, because Netmarble has recently released a new game called King of Fighters All Star, which
True.
There's been such an influx of awards that's given to us. Granted, because the game is new.
Yeah.
But still, I feel that I'm getting way more rewards for my time invested in KOF than in Marvel Future Fight as of late. So I feel the reward reworks are basically at its highest priority.
Okay, Ibig?
Yeah.
So I kind of disagree a little bit with Shawnee.
Mm-hmm.
Shawi, I don't think you can kind of compare this to King of Fighters, and that's what I disagree with, because King of Fighters is a gacha game, so they're giving you rewards to give you an incentive to spend more money, whereas in this game we don't really. It's not the same. Like, we can kind of grind for majority of the characters, with the exception of the bio sub characters. There's no gambling to a high degree to get characters. You kind of just pay straight up for the characters. So that's kind of where I disagree. I don't think that that's the kind of connection that can be made. I think that even though I was saying new game modes, I think the first thing that should be done is reworking game modes that are there, then go into reworking, and then go to new game modes. The reason that I mentioned new game modes personally is because the game modes that I would like have a long-term effect in the game. They're not something that are meant to be done day one. They're meant to be something that's done
More
over the course of a month. Like, so we have that. We have something to build to. Yeah.
Sort of like a longer epic quest.
Right. So
okay.
like it's because the issue that we really have is we get a character and then there's nothing to go for anymore. There's nothing to strive for. When an epic quest comes out, we just build everything to tier 2 and then that's it. Okay. And then we get the new character and we level them up, but there's nothing beyond that to strive to. So I think we need a game mode that does that gives us something to always go to. Like, I know we have Shadowland, and I'll make this quick, but something that's a permanent longer tower that's actually scaled in difficulty without strikers, like something that's actually hard to give us something to push higher towards.
Okay, cool. Handsome Jack?
Yeah, so I'm surprised no one said it. I think the most important one right now is going to be the character usage reworks.
Yeah, okay.
While right before we got on, I was actually looking through my roster, and I can't even think of the last time I've used Hulk, Spider-Gwen, Hela, just all those characters that just sit in your roster doing absolutely nothing. I'm collecting all these rewards from the other game modes, some more than others, and I'm building these characters just to kind of show them off.
Right. Just a trophy case.
So I think that should be the primary thing, and then we move on to some of the reward reworks and all that stuff. I think those three can all kind of be done in any order. I think character usage is the most, because Shadowland is fun, but it kind of sucks to use a character that you worked so hard to build up once a week.
Just for 3 minutes or less. Yeah. Okay, very, very well said. Jess?
I think the top priority is the game mode rework, the reward reworks. After that, new game modes, because maybe if we get new game modes, we can use the characters for that game mode.
Two
and
birds,
then
one stone.
That's about And after that, everything just reshuffling the existing rewards.
Okay, awesome. Well said. And then Drew?
Yeah, I think the top two are definitely the most important. Game mode
Reward reworks. Sorry, it's so hard to say. I shouldn't have written like that. Go ahead.
Game mode reworks and the rewards and character usage hand in hand, and that's why I think they're both, just as important as each other. I also agree heavily with what Handsome. Remember, the last time I even used say Hulk for his leadership or anything, or just any there's so many characters, that are only useful for their leaderships or their tier 2 passes.
Just collecting dust.
Yeah, in the fights, and need this new potential awakening, this new sixth skill.
Yeah,
this could possibly change things for character usage.
Yeah,
it could make characters that are never going to get a tier 3, or at least not get a tier 3 for quite a while. It could make them useful.
True. Yeah, and it probably requires less work on the part of the devs, because they don't have to worry about creating. Well, they still have to make an animation, but the animation seems to be very easily copied and pasted, because basically they're just changing some of the effects at the end of the Warriors of the Sky skill, and they're changing the color of the Sky Kieran from blue to green to red to white. But otherwise, it seems much, much easier than designing a brand new skill with brand new mocap animation for the character to go through when they're doing the movements of the skill. On top of, for the tier 3, having to worry about all of the base stat improvements, and probably, I don't know how long they spend, 10 minutes or 10 hours, but working on some level of balancing, because you don't want to release a new tier 3, especially with how expensive they are. That is too strong or too weak, and then having to either buff or nerf them. It's never really you want to get it right the first time, as hard as that is. So yeah, I definitely agree with all of what you're saying, to varying degrees. But it really just depends on what's going to come next, I guess. So this is obviously just speculation. This is obviously just what we think. But I'm also curious to see and to know and to hear from what you guys think, that are listening and watching over in YouTube land. So hit us up in the comments. Let us know what you think. Big, super giant thank you to the 6 guests here: Black Status 61, iBig, 912, Jess, Adam Valor Black, CCMKL, and Handsome Jack.
Thank you for having me.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you for having me. It's good to share my opinion.
Thank you for having me too.
Oh, thank you guys so much. I really appreciate it. Couldn't do this without you. And yeah, thank you so much for watching us, and we will see you in the next one. Take care.